Laredo College offers two bachelor's degrees. One of them is the Bachelor of Applied Science in Organizational Leadership. The other one is in nursing. But we're going to talk about organizational leadership today with the program director, the lead faculty for that program. That is Dr. Marisa Guerrero. Dr. Guerrero, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Raymond.
So tell us about this program. There was a lot of excitement when it was first unveiled. When did it come to fruition and what is it about?
Well, again, thank you for having me. So the process in developing the program actually took a few years in terms of conducting a market analysis, making sure that students who receive this degree would be able to, be employed in different arenas within the Laredo and regional. And we found that, yes, indeed, there was a great demand for leadership, for management, and for going into those different positions within organizations. And so working with the coordinating board and our different organizations in education, we were able to propose that and actually begin offering the courses in January of 2021. So we've been a couple of years in, and we're about to graduate our 6th cohort and start our 7th cohort. So we've been running for a few years now, doing really well.
That's interesting because most of the time you don't know how to be a leader. You've got to learn, and typically it's done through experience, moving up the chain. But this sort of kind of gets you on the fast track to understanding how to be a leader. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. And so I think there's kind of two really platforms that we address within our program. I think one of the needs that we address, like you said, we have folks who are adult learners. We have folks who have been in organizations in, say, finance and government, education, who have the experience. They've been working in organizations for 10, 15 more years, but they don't have a bachelor's degree. And so that's kind of holding them back because they do have the practical workplace experience, but as we all know, without that credential, you're always going to hit that ceiling of being able to move up. We also have, the other group that we're seeing, which is the younger generation, and they are wanting to go into management leadership positions in their given field, say in criminal justice or education or therapies, health administration. But they really don't have the formal training. They have the practical training to be able to go and serve in those roles. But in terms of that leadership training, there's that gap. And so this program really addresses those two areas, preparing you as a leader if you don't have the experience, or giving you that credential and being able to really demonstrate that you are a leader through a bachelor's degree.
So all of the degrees, certificates that Laredo College offers, as you mentioned, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes before it comes to fruition, because the college wants to make sure that it's something that the community can use to get a job or to advance in their career, whatever the case may be. And that's definitely the case here. I hadn't realized that there's two aspects to this: the incoming freshmen or new students that want to get a degree in this field, but there's also experienced people who get this degree because they're lacking that bachelor's. So that's interesting. What does the degree consist of? What can students expect if they get into this program?
So students come into our program with some prerequisites already in place. And so they come in with 90 hours of coursework. So for most of our students, they are coming from an associate degree program. So that might be an associate degree in business, criminal justice, early childhood education, you name it. Any of our associate degrees, we will take that as a whole. And this is really important because other universities you go to, say you have an associate's in criminal justice, you want to transfer that, you're kind of starting from scratch. What we do is we say, okay, we know that you have this learning experience. We accept those as professional development electives. And then you take your core, which you'll do at any university. And so our program actually consists of 10 upper level courses. And so to answer your question, what they can expect is they're going to come in, they're going to take those 10 classes and work on a major project, a capstone project, and then they graduate with their degree. And so it's very attractive to those students who already have an associate's degree. Maybe they just graduated with that associate, or maybe they graduated and they went to Border Patrol and they worked for a couple of years, or they went into into banking or as an accountant and they worked for a couple of years and now they're ready to come back. Or maybe they're a fresh new student and they just want to work on through. We even have agreements with many institutions, and we have students that are going into their master's degrees, for example. We just had a student who graduated in our program a few months ago, about 7 months ago, and she's graduating with her master's degree.
Wow.
I have students who are already going into doctorate programs as well. And so it kind of offers a little bit of everything for everyone, depending on where you are in your career path and where you want to go.
We're talking about the bachelor's degree in organizational leadership here at Laredo College. Let's talk about real world applications here, Dr. Guerrero. What sort of a job can this help our students get, I guess?
So we kind of like to say the sky's the limit. It really doesn't matter what organization you're in. There is a need for leadership. That may be in education, and so that we have folks working in human resources offices or different things in education. We also have folks who decide to go into the teaching arena, and they go through their certification in teaching. Just within different business organizations. So you're talking banking, finance, government, with the county, any of those different areas. Border Patrol, Customs, criminal justice. You know, what really makes this degree interesting is that we like the students to kind of have what we call like a suite of skills. So you're already trained in one arena, and then you'll probably go work in that arena, and then you're trained as a leader. And so you're kind of, you're a double, triple threat, right? Because you know how to do the practical work, and then you know how to do the practical leadership skills. And we train those not just through theory. So we do have coursework and traditional textbooks and traditional curriculum, but a lot of our curriculum is also practical and workplace. And so every student is placed into what we call experiential learning. And so this is a very innovative form of learning where it's hands-on. And so, for example, nurses have clinicals and they go out and work in hospitals, but in leadership, we put you in leadership positions in different organizations, and almost you could basically say like managing projects. We partnered with many community organizations. So we have partnerships with Sacred Heart Children's Home, Habitat for Humanity, with the school district, with Laredo College itself, the Imaginarium of South Texas. And we basically work with those partners to design a project, and they see that project through within their 10 months. And at the end, they have their capstone to say, these are the leadership skills I developed. This is the project or the event that I oversaw, and these were our results. And that's very valuable, not only for giving them that training. You can't learn that in a book.
Yeah.
You can't learn how to work with other folks in an organization in a book. You have to really go out and practice it. But for some of our younger students who maybe don't have that workplace experience, that's something that goes on their resume. And that's kind of the beginning of their workplace experience. And so that puts them above some of the other folks they may be competing with.
Do you see a lot of the students from the different areas in their life, I guess, like perhaps the older students and with the younger students, do you see them sharing those experiences with each other?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And so, when we pair students, we pair them more in terms of teams, in terms of what they're going to be doing after graduation. So the folks that are in business are more in a business, those in education. And so what we do see is learning a lot from each other. And so for some of the folks that have been in the industry, have been in organizations for a while, they bring a wealth of experience and knowledge of just those nuances of how organizations work. And they are very, very good team leaders, and they help mentor. And then we have some of the younger folks who are excellent with technology, teaching us how to use things such as Wakelet and different technologies, and just different ways to put media, marketing, and things together. And we're learning every day from our students. Or say, we're going to take that, we're going to use that in our organization now. And they bring that energy and those ideas. And so I just think overall, everyone is learning from each other. And we're even learning from our students as well. So it's a really nice experience.
I know it's hard to sit here and define everything about the program and say, this is how it can help you, this is what you can do. Really would take someone inquiring and getting more information about the program so they can find out, is this something for me, is it not? Is it accurate to say that someone can be in a job for years and years and years, but because they don't have that degree, it's prevented them from advancing? Is that accurate?
That is accurate. I think, depending on the organization that they're in, we've had many folks. I can give you an example. I had a student who was in the oil and gas industry, and she was a female student. She'd been in that industry for decades, knew the ins and out of the oil and gas industry, was kind of the right-hand man in many ways, but was being held back because she didn't have the credentials. She didn't have a bachelor's degree to move up into those promotions. And as you know, when you work with big corporations, even though you may know everything about that role, if you don't have that piece of paper saying you're certified, that can hold you back. She came through our program, and as soon as she entered the program, got about halfway through, the promotion started coming in.
Wow.
And immediately upon graduation, she became, I believe, like a regional manager, and now she's training others, and it's just the sky's the limit from there. And she's come back and told us this degree not only trained me to do these things, to learn to work in teams, the dynamics of my organization, but it really helped to kind of validate the work I'd already been doing, and being able to not only move up in the organization, but to be compensated as well. And that's not a unique story. I think that's a story that we see across Laredo, just really across the country. The times of being able to have a very well-paying job with very high benefits without a degree, those jobs are difficult to come by.
And as you mentioned, the sky's the limit and with this degree, because in other degrees you can say, well, this is about the medium, salary, but with this, it's really, if you just needed the bachelor's degree, that can really get you to some really high levels of pay. So it's hard to say the medium salary is this, correct?
Yes. It depends on your field. Like you can have folks that are going into six figures depending on their field. It just really depends on where you're going into, your experience. As one of the challenges I think that we see with some of the younger students, they think, oh, I got a bachelor's degree, now I'm going to be the boss. And we all know it's a combination, right? What employers want to see is that combination of workplace experience, time on the job, and the credentials. But certainly once those things start coming into place, the sky is the limit depending on where you're going to work.
On top of all this is a bachelor's degree at Laredo College, which is very affordable. And Laredo College, there's a lot of efforts to help students. For example, just recently the Palomino Pledge, the meal plan. So it's really an opportunity to get a bachelor's degree at an affordable price at Laredo College. Tell me, before we wrap up, Dr. Guerrero, how do those stories feel to hear, the student that got her doctorate or the students that go on and become even more successful? What does that feel like for you and your staff?
Oh, well, it's an amazing feeling. We get these calls, these messages every day. Yesterday, I got a message from a student who was finishing her master's degree, and she's been working at the school district for 2 years as a teacher. And she, just graduated from our program not too long ago. Student who is now a director at one of the food banks here in Laredo. A student who's a regional manager or very high up at one of the big organizations in San Antonio, in Austin. And, again and again and again, what we hear is, that they felt prepared. Wow. They felt not only did they learn the theories, but they had a lot of practice in understanding how organizations work and how leadership works. And it's not just about being the boss, right? It's about working with a team, understanding how people tick, understanding how organizations work, and where you fit into that equation. And so for us, it's extremely rewarding because the payoff happens so fast.
Yeah.
This program, from beginning to end, is 10 months. So you get your bachelor's degree, and if you want to move on to your master's, you can do that, and the promotions come very quickly as well. So for us, it's extremely rewarding to know that we're making, such a huge difference in the trajectory of these students' lives. I mean, it's changing not only themselves, but generations, of being able to lift their families out of poverty, going into a different socioeconomic class, and it's really endless from there. So extremely, extremely rewarding work. A lot of work for the students, a lot of work for us, but it's very, very much worth the effort that everyone puts in.
And this is also a benefit to the Laredo community. Absolutely. So whether you're a new student considering your education, or whether you've already got an education but are seeking more, or whatever your case is, it's the Bachelor of Applied Science in Organizational Leadership. We'll get the information here on the screen for you to call and or email, whatever the case may be. And Dr. Marisa Guerrero is the program director and the lead faculty. Dr. Guerrero, thank you very much for your time. Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, definitely have students contact us, and you're going to provide the information. And we do give each student a one-on-one basically interview where we run them through the requirements of the program. We look at their transcript. We tell them where they're at in the program. If they're not there yet, how long it will be until they get there, and we give them their final degree plan to graduation. So we take our time with every single student. We take about 30 minutes on a Zoom call, or they can come in the office to, let them know, hey, this degree is for you, or if you're not there yet, what do we need to do to get you there? So I do highly recommend they reach out, and we'll set them up with an appointment and get them started.
Nice, and there is information on our website as well at laredo.edu. So we're just missing you. So think about the program. Thank you, Dr. Guerrero.
Thank you.